Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Kabir Considers. In this video, we're going to react to the top 10 angriest outbursts caught on live TV. Usually, celebrities have been media trained. They know exactly what to say, exactly how to say it, what things to talk about. They're usually promoting a movie or a new song or something like that. So they want to be seen in a positive light. So it's hard to think of why a celebrity would get, angry unless they were deliberately provoked by the host of whatever show or radio show or podcast that they were on. Which leads me to think it's obviously, the person trying to get a reaction out of them. So the celebrity should have almost rose above it. But I guess if you push the right buttons.
Sometimes composure just isn't possible. Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 angry outbursts on live TV. For this list, we'll be looking at various impassioned and frustrated outbursts from media personalities that were aired on live television.
Southwest breeze 10 to 15. Here's a 60. I don't know if that's good enough for you guys.
Number 10, frankly just bullshit. In late February 2020, convicted Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich appeared on CNN to talk with Anderson Cooper. Blagojevich was serving 14 years in prison for soliciting bribes, a sentence later commuted by President Donald Trump on February 18, 2020. Blagojevich is playing up his prison time, referring to himself as a political prisoner and comparing himself to Nelson Mandela.
Get out of here. Are you serious?
I just got to stop you. I'm sorry. As someone who's worked in South Africa and saw apartheid, the idea that you are comparing yourself to
insane?
Somebody who has actually been railroaded by an apartheid system is just nuts.
Cooper rightfully called
Mandela served, 27 years in prison for no reason.
Comparison offensive, but that's not all. As the interview goes on, Cooper grows increasingly resentful and impatient with Blagojevich's statements, and he eventually refers to his alternate universe of facts as bullshit.
You do have an obligation to at least admit what you did wrong,
right.
And you refuse to do that, and you're creating a whole new alternate universe of facts, and that may be big in politics today, but it's still, frankly, just bullshit.
This isn't the first time the Cooper...
Well done, Anderson. That guy Blagojevich, he should seek deep psychiatric help immediately.
In his mind. Back on Anderson Live, he called the so-called human Barbie a dreadful person and cut the interview short.
I try to be really polite to all my guests. I just think you're dreadful, and I honestly don't want to talk to you anymore, so I'm just going to stop.
Number 9, Weatherman's cold response. We all get a case of the winter blues sooner or later. It affects some people worse than others, even the meteorologists.
Predicting the weather accurately is a multi-billion-dollar industry that can affect businesses and literally save lives. So there is a lot of pressure on weather forecasters, which might explain why they sometimes snap.
In 2018, a Grand Rapids, Michigan meteorologist named Gary Frank let loose on one particularly cold day, venting not as much about the cold weather, but the reactions and expectations of his coworkers for constantly complaining about it.
Well, because you guys are dragging me down. You guys keep... Well, every time I get done with the 7-day, you guys are like, oh, gosh, oh. Every time.
His sarcastic rant includes mimicking his coworkers' disappointed sighs and suggesting maybe he should just misrepresent the weather to be warmer to make everyone happy. It's actually refreshing to see such human moments like this on the news.
Doesn't matter what time I come on. 4:30, 5:30, 6:30. And then you expect me to be chipper for 5 straight hours. It's miserable.
Number 8, anchor untethered. Back in...
I can understand his feelings, but come on, man. Come on. You just got to roll with it. You're doing your job, and they're doing theirs. You can't get butthurt about that.
2009, Drew Smith, a news anchor for SNN News 6 in Sarasota, Florida, had very little patience for poorly worded transcripts. After struggling to get through a story, Smith sighs in frustration and hangs his head in shame.
In her will, Smith also intentionally omitted to provide for her spouse and other heirs, including future spouses and children, and other descendants.
Yeah, whoever typed that, it just sounds so wordy, too verbose. Doesn't sound smooth.
After a brief pause, Smith brandishes his copy of the script and asks,
"Who writes this stuff?"
And asks either
terrible.
the crew or the viewers at home if they are as confused as he is.
Are you guys lost like I am?
Before continuing on, Smith seemingly answers his earlier question by stating, quote, "Some intern at NBC News Channel writes this crap." But we get it. Poorly worded news is confusing for everyone, and quality control is important.
Some intern at NBC News Channel writes this crap.
Number 7, Alexi Lalas speaks his mind. Sports commentators aren't one to mince words. If a performance sucks, they're going to tell you about it. And Alexi Lalas, a former soccer star and pundit for Fox Sports, certainly told us about it.
It's dark days indeed, but this is a time for leaders to step up. And so to the supposed leaders, I will say this. All right.
While covering a match between the Seattle Sounders and LA Galaxy, Lalas unleashes a barrage of insults against the national United States soccer team. He singles out specific people, including Tim Howard, Jeff Cameron, and Clint Dempsey, and says that those that he didn't single out, quote, don't even warrant a mention.
Tim Howard. Tim, the Belgium game ended 3 years ago. We need you to save the ball now. Jeff Cameron, clean it up or let's get someone who will. Clint Dempsey, yeah, you're a national team legend. Now we need you to be a national team leader.
And that's before calling them all, quote, soft, underperforming tattooed millionaires. We don't know if this is tough love or just straight up mean.
You're going to continue to be a bunch of soft, underperforming, tattooed millionaires? You are a soccer generation that has been given everything. You are a soccer generation who is on the verge of squandering everything.
Number 6, let me talk.
Whoa. I mean, I don't know what happened. Like, unless it was an obvious display of no effort, like from the US football team. What did I say? Soccer, it's football. Like, unless it was clearly like obvious that they weren't giving their all, that was so harsh, man. But then again, sometimes you do need to hear it. Like, sometimes you do need to get some tough love.
If this list proves anything, it's that meteorologists are hanging on by a thread. This outburst concerns Chad Myers, the severe weather expert for CNN.
Okay,
that
so
is lower
Chad,
pressure, but
Chad,
Camille.
Chad,
let me talk, Carol.
Translate that for us. I don't know.
The way she was called, Chad. So, like, patronizing, condescending. Chad, calm down.
Means what does that mean?
Well, if you would let me talk.
While discussing Hurricane Katrina, anchor Carol Costello interrupts Myers and asks him to clarify the complex and technical terminology that he's using. Myers proceeds to yell, "Let me talk, Carol," and throws his papers on the ground in frustration. Costello and Myers both laugh the incident off, and Myers states that he was just having fun with Costello. It seems clear that they do this simply to diffuse the palpable tension, because Myers was obviously not having fun. He is stressed the heck out.
All right.
Carol.
Thank you, Chad.
All right, just having fun with you this morning.
I know.
All right.
It's a stressful time, I know.
Number 5, burning with frustration.
That was weird.
This is a hot one. Okay, not literally, but there is fire involved. Mika Brzezinski is the co-host of MSNBC's Morning Joe, a weekday morning political talk show. Back in 2007, Brzezinski grew frustrated with the constant coverage of Paris Hilton.
Hold on a second. I'm going to make a point.
Lord.
We're not covering this, all right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm done with the Paris Hilton story.
Just do the news.
She attempts to set her news documents on fire, saying, quote, "I'm done with the Paris Hilton story." When her co-anchor takes the lighter away, Brzezinski gets up and throws the papers into a nearby paper shredder.
This is my Paris Hilton story.
What a statement.
Why is she so angry? Like, does she not like Paris Hilton? Is she jealous of Paris Hilton? Like, or have they been covering it for, like, you know, every single day? But I mean, it's your job to, like, cover the news. Whatever, you know, you're told to cover is what you cover.
This is a statement about the state of journalism in our country. You have changed the world, Mika Brzezinski. How can you give us...
At least my world.
When reflecting on the moment for a 10-year anniversary special, co-anchor Willie Geist called it, quote, a symbolic moment for the show, in that Brzezinski was refusing to air and discuss such trivial matters of celebrity.
This is the way things have sort of been done. These are the things you've seen talked about in the morning. Yeah. They're literally going into a shredder, and we're starting something new.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Mika got called to the front office, and they were going to yell at her.
No, I did get yelled at.
Number 4, Ben Affleck gets worked up. Back in October 2014, Ben Affleck appeared on the talk show Real Time with Bill Maher alongside author and podcast host Sam Harris. And it didn't take long for the fireworks to really get going. The discussion veers towards the subjects of radical Islam and Islamophobia, and battle lines are quickly drawn.
You're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, and that's a problem.
Big of you.
But the
But why are you so hostile about this? It's gross. It's racist.
Marr claims that Islam is the only religion that acts like the mafia, and Harris says that
Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
The Oscar winner then goes off on the two men, calling their assertions gross, racist, and ugly things to say. All this while sitting back in his chair in frustration and muttering Jesus Christ under his breath.
Could you imagine if these two said that about, I'm not going to like think of another religion right now that's kind of in the news. Imagine they said this about that one. Could you imagine the response from the media and everybody else, rightfully so? Come on.
So suffice it to say, he didn't agree with their opinions.
You criticize the people who are doing it, not the Philippines. You know what I mean?
Well, what if the people
as a Filipino kid lives down the street from you would have nothing to do with that?
Number 3.
Exactly. To label an entire religion as the motherlode of all problems is crazy. It's crazy because there's going to be good people and bad people in every kind of group.
Away from Bill O'Reilly.
Please welcome Bill O'Reilly.
And here we have another disagreement arising over religion and extremism. Back in 2010, political commentator Bill O'Reilly appeared on The View to promote his book Pinheads and Patriots, Where You Stand in the Age of Obama. The discussion turns towards an Islamic community center called Park 51, then scheduled to be built near Ground Zero.
And let me break this to you. 70% of Americans don't want that mosque down there, so don't give me the we business.
O'Reilly claims without proof that, quote, 70% of Americans don't want that, and that it's inappropriate, quote, because Muslims killed us on 9/11.
Muslims killed us on 9/11.
Whoopi yells, oh my God, shoots back in her seat and swears at O'Reilly before she and Joy Behar storm off the set. This is anything but scripted, just a real impassioned reaction.
You're outraged about Muslims killed us on 9/11.
Number 2, Jim Ryan versus...
It's like, you can't... The thing is, you just cannot... Like I mentioned before, there's bad people in every group. Like, you can't say... Like, let's look at World War II. Obviously, Hitler was evil in what he did, but there were Germans who were against Hitler. You can't then say, oh, all Germans are bad people. Do you see what I mean? You can't just tar the whole group because of the actions of a few.
Oliver. This legendary argument took place on July 19th, 2001. Good Day New York anchorman Jim Ryan is watching a report from Dick Oliver on a landlord-tenant dispute. It's pretty normal everyday stuff, until it isn't.
All right, it's back to you, Jim.
Ollie, don't let her go away. What, does she have a response to that? Is she still there?
What's that?
Did the lady just leave?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
After Oliver lets his tenant interviewee leave, Ryan chastises him for the quality of his reporting. This results in a bitter and very awkward back and forth on live television, and you can see the tenant cringing and suppressing a laugh in the background.
I'll give you lessons on how to become a reporter later
I'll give you some lessons on how to be an editor, because I was your boss once.
Yeah, you were, and are no longer. How did that happen?
This incident would become so infamous that it inspired Bill Hader's Herb Welch character on Saturday Night Live, with Hader portraying an elderly reporter as combative as he is incompetent.
Please just ask the question.
Who started this thing?
Well, a couple of us actually started.
Spill the beans.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Mike Tyson blows his stack. Back in 1992, Mike Tyson was sentenced to 6 years in prison for the rape of 18-year-old Desiree Washington. This topic was brought up years later in 2014 when Tyson...
Why did you bring it up? Oh my God. Why would you bring this up?
Was visiting Toronto's CP24 news channel on a promotional tour after meeting with the city's then mayor Rob Ford.
First time probably in the history of Toronto where the mayor is bigger than the whole city. He's the biggest celebrity than everybody in the city. Everybody wants to see the mayor, and he's a really dynamic character.
News anchor Nathan Downer broaches the idea that the mayoral meeting could possibly have interfered with Ford's election race, as Tyson is a convicted rapist.
I don't have no comment to that, because it's negative, and you're being negative, and I met the mayor, and nothing they can do about it.
And Tyson is not happy. He initially responds in a seemingly controlled manner before utterly and profanely losing his composure multiple times, eventually calling Downer,
It's more nerve-wracking for me to hear us talking to a rat piece of shit like you. Come on.
Downer reminds Tyson that they were on live TV, but he doesn't seem to care, like, at all.
We're gonna wrap up this interview. Thank you for coming in.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent.
Beautiful. That guy who brought up the that incident with Mike Tyson was an idiot. Like, why would you bring that up? Like, what do you possibly think? Do you think Mike is going to be all happy and chipper to talk about something like that? Like, where are your brains, my man? Like, where are your brains? Like, maybe it wasn't his idea. Maybe it was the producer who told him in his ear to ask him that, to which I would then say, fair enough, it's not your fault. But it's Mike Tyson. He's a professional boxer. Like, do you think he's going to give the most diplomatic answer in the world to that kind of question? Where are your brains? Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.